Hello, and welcome to the Allied Health Breakout Room. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so that I can show you a little PowerPoint here as far as just some important information about our program. Hold on just a second. All right. So first of all, I'm Karen Stutzman, and I am the instructor for this program. This program has been going on for about 21 years now. And so it's a great way to introduce students into different areas of healthcare and to just see if this is something that you want to go into. As Mrs. Branch said earlier, this is a class that requires a lot of dedication. It's not going to be an easy class by any means, but the good news is, this information is very usable no matter if you go into healthcare, if you decide this is not a career for you. You're learning about your body and how your body works and diseases and, things that could affect you and your family and friends. And so it's some good knowledge to have. I do not feel it's wasted if you've changed your mind. This is a great time to find out if this isn't for you, just like it is a good time to find out if it is for you. Hopefully this gives you a good head start as you enter into the healthcare field, no matter, what career that you want to go into. Here. So there are a lot more careers out there than just being a doctor and a nurse. And even though I am associated with Lansing Community College, we will, look at careers that you could go into, that you'd need to go to another college to pursue. So one thing about healthcare is there are many options that you can go into, some that require little, if no training, it could all be on the job. And then there's, all the way up to a doctorate degree. So we have, a wide variety of things. And so there are careers out there that are maybe a 1 semester long, such as, being a certified nurse's aide or patient care tech, medical assistant that you can do. There's those that are a couple semesters. Lansing Community College offers associate degree programs, and then you could continue on and, get a bachelor's or a master's or a doctorate, or maybe, that's the end of what you want to do. So there's a lot of different options that are out there. Part of what I hope that we can explore this year is what is it that you're interested in? There are careers that you've probably never heard of before, and we'll kind of hit on that. And sometimes you don't even know what is interesting until we start exploring it. And so sometimes we could be talking about a certain body system, and then we start talking about careers that are associated with that, and you find out that you have an interest in that. Other times the complete opposite happens. You've known since you've been, 8 years old that you want to be a doctor or a nurse. And then the more you find out, you're like, that's not really what I want to do. And that's great. Now's a good time to kind of explore and find out, and then look at other avenues. And so those are some things that we'll do. One of the things that we do in this class is we explore many different careers, and the students have to do either career boards or we'll do career presentations. And if we have 25 students in class, then we have 25 different careers. It's not about doing the career that you think you want to go into, because you've probably already researched that. The idea here is to learn about all different types of careers, and it's a way of finding out where your interest really lies. And so each student will have to sign up for a different career, and then we present them and ask some questions and learn a little bit more about them. And it's just one of the things that we do that hopefully will help do some exploring for you, because I think not only is it important to explore careers, but explore colleges and what college would probably be a good fit for you. Because I am an LCC professor, you will earn direct credit, which means that when students enroll in this class, they're starting a transcript at Lansing Community College, and they won't just earn, like, so to say, transferred in credit. Will actually be a GPA that you will start there. And here's the name of the 3 classes that we do. And it's not an automatic. There's a certain grade point that you have to earn credit. And if you don't get that grade point, then it doesn't show up on your transcript. And so this is a unique opportunity where it doesn't show up as a failure, if you, and that's not the word I want to use when I say that, but it doesn't show up as a failing grade. It just won't show up on your transcript at all. So if you receive high enough points, you will get like a 2.0 or a 3.5 or a 4 point in the class, just like you would if you were taking this class on campus. And we actually use some of the same material that they use on campus. All three of these classes, we have a departmental final that they will give. So it's not watered down. It's the exact same material that you learn on campus. I guess instead of saying it's watered down, the nice thing is you have a longer time frame to finish this than you would if you were on campus, because it goes at a little bit slower pace because we meet every day. And so you have more time to learn. Normally a 3-credit class, you meet 3 hours during that week, and then you're expected to do the homework on your own. And we meet a lot more than that. And so they have more opportunity to understand and to grasp the concepts in each one of the classes. A lot of things that we will do are just general skills that will be used in healthcare. Everybody needs to know, how to do vital signs, how to take a pulse and a blood pressure, and do CPR. Those are types of things that we will learn. Putting gloves on. Right now, everybody is putting gloves on. And sometimes that kind of scares me, using gloves from person to person, but a little bit different with COVID and just taking precautions than it is when you're in healthcare and you're worried about transmitting something that we know that a patient is ill with. But we also have what we refer to as sterile gloves. And so there's a difference between a box of gloves that you put on just to protect yourself from, certain types of bodily fluids, or sterile gloves that we're using to make sure that when we have a patient opened up and, we could actually transmit, we know that we're coming in contact with fluid and we could transmit some type of disease or infection. So we'll look at putting sterile gloves on. So there's a lot of different skills that we will do. Sometimes it's just an exposure to a different skill. Other times we're going to learn the correct procedure because it's something that you're going to be checked off as actually learning how to do. A lot of the skills that we do and a lot of the activities, I guess would be the way that I would want to use that, are probably closer related to the anatomy and physiology that we're doing and about diseases. Even though the students are not getting college credit for anatomy, what we are doing with this is that we are actually learning this stuff, because when we get into med term, you have to understand the normal before you can understand the abnormal. And so if you don't understand the normal, it's really going to be hard to understand how a disease affects the body. So a lot of the activities that we do are related to the anatomy and the physiology, and then how that affects with a disease. Even though I know when I use the word hands-on, students always think that that means that they're doing an activity. Hands-on learning is a lot more than that. This class is very academically heavy. So it's not a class to take for the wrong reason, because if you're not interested in healthcare, it's a long year and it's difficult material if it's not something you're interested in. And so even though we spend a lot of days with me lecturing, and the students will have computers, we'll be doing activities on the computers, we stop and I ask questions and I get input from students, and I try to do like case studies and tell stories. All of that stuff is considered hands-on learning. And so it's really important that the students be engaged and the students be there for the right reasons. I know that this class isn't easy, but if it's something that you're interested in, hopefully you kind of look at it as in one of the harder classes that I've truly enjoyed. And so I want to make it fun. I enjoy being here and teaching the kids, and I want them to enjoy coming to class, even though it may be, some effort on their part to be able to be successful. As I said before, not only will we explore careers, we'll explore colleges. We do things a little bit differently this year with us being virtual versus normally. Even though we were virtual this year, we still did a tour with Lansing Community College, and we talked to a lot of the program directors to find out about different avenues of education that you can get at Lansing Community College. I don't think people always understand what Lansing Community College has to offer. They've got some phenomenal programs, some that are rated very highly in the state and in the nation. And so it may be a good fit for students. But I don't think that, community college is for everyone. There are students that want to go to a four-year university. They want to, get out. That's great too. What is it that fits for you? So not only will we look at Lansing Community College, but this year, for instance, we did virtual tours with Grand Valley, with Davenport, and with Finlandia University up in the UP. So, we look at different things. It's all about finding the best fit for you and what is it that you're interested in doing. And maybe you don't know right now, but it's a good time to explore. So we will look at that at all kinds of options for students. There's a lot of things that students enjoy about the class, and my goal is hoping that when they do these things, it helps the learning kind of come to life. It helps things make sense in your mind, but it's not everything. These are the things that I think make it fun, but it's not going to necessarily be the only thing that's important. I think what happens when we do these activities, that when it comes time for testing, the things kind of stick in their mind a little bit better. One thing that's really important for students to understand when they're taking allied health is that you can't just learn the material for a test, and you don't just do an assignment to check off and say that you're done. You need to understand this information and you need to build on top of it. When a patient comes into the hospital and you need to take care of them, or into a clinic, you can't say, oh, yeah, I learned that, but I forgot. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to understand the material, and the only way you're going to understand it is to build on top of it and to know that you're not just memorizing, you're actually learning the material. So I hit that kind of heavy because I think that that's important, and students oftentimes think that it's just about taking a test and then they're done with that material, and it's just not true. Another thing that we do in allied health, it's called HOSA, which stands for Health Occupation Students of America. And it's a national program. And so in the state of Michigan, we have what's called regional competition. We have 8 different regions. And so if students would like to join HOSA, they choose an event that they would like to compete in. It may be an individual event, it may be a team event, it might be a skill, it might be a written test, and then they practice and they compete at a regional level. Depending on where they place, they may have the opportunity to then place to be able to compete at a state level. And again, depend on where you place in the state, you may be able to compete at a national level. It's not a requirement. It's not something that I expect all students to do, because if you're not interested, you probably won't do well. So, I only want the students to join that are truly interested in competing. Once students join, they really do have a good time doing this. There is a fee involved to join this, and you get to choose whatever event it is that you're most interested in. So that's something that we'll talk about later. It's good experience for students, but it's not meant for everybody. And so anybody that's interested, it'll be something that we'll discuss in class, and they can make that decision if they want to compete in HOSA. It's very similar. You've probably heard of BPA that many of your schools have. It's very similar to BPA. This class will definitely be hybrid next year. Hopefully it will not be virtual. At this point right now, it is expected to be hybrid, and it's always been hybrid. That's nothing that is new. It's really important, I think, for students to understand the responsibility that comes along with taking college classes. And even when you're in a college class that is completely face-to-face, they still have a learning platform that they have to use. And for us, it's called Desire to Learn. And even in a face-to-face class, they have to submit assignments there. They're going to find some of their content posted in D2L. So I try to make that as close to the same as what you would be doing if you were at a college class. So we will have at least 1 day a week, if not 2 days a week, that we will be doing class hybrid. And so that means the students must have a reliable internet. If you don't have a reliable internet at home, then you need to find a place. It's not an acceptable excuse to say I don't have it. It's expected to be something that you have access to in this class. As long as schools are in session, every school you make prior arrangements, and you can be at your home school and you can get this stuff done. We have labs at RISA building as well. So you'll need a good internet connection. You'll need a computer. I don't know if I'm assuming schools will still have computers for students to check out if need be. I will say that it's a little more difficult with a Chromebook, because a Chromebook is really only using Google Apps. We are not using Google as part of our learning platform. Ours is more geared towards Microsoft. You can still use a Chromebook, but there's just a little more conversion and a little more thought that needs to go into the exercises that you're doing. And so if you happen to be purchasing a computer, I would just say that a Chromebook is going to be more difficult. Many colleges will tell you the same thing. A Chromebook just isn't made for all types of activities. And so just something to think about. But anyhow, we will be doing stuff both in the classroom and out of the classroom on a computer. We do have computers in our classroom to be using, but you're always welcome to bring your own into the class as well, because we'll be using them just about every day. Expectations that I have of students. First of all students need to wear scrub tops. It's a required part of the dress code. That doesn't mean that you can't wear a t-shirt underneath it if you're cold. Make sure your scrub top is big enough so that you can fit a t-shirt, a sweatshirt underneath it. Each class will have their own color of a scrub top that they will wear, and that will come out in the summer mailing that Mrs. Branch was talking about earlier. And so you will have points that will be awarded to you for coming prepared to class, and that means wearing your scrub top is just one of the things. If a student comes into class without a scrub top, they will have points deducted, and I have a top that they will wear that is different than the rest of the class, so it's obvious that it's not their own scrub top, but it's just an expectation. This is something that our industry wants the students to do, because in most health career jobs, you have a uniform that you have to wear. So they want students to get into that, the process of wearing that uniform now. You can wear one scrub top the entire year. That's fine with me. I don't care. You just need to pull it out and put it on during class. And so one is enough. As Mrs. Branch said earlier, the big vacations, the big holidays will probably match up with what you have at your home school, but there will be days that our class could be in session that you're not in session at your home school, and you're still expected to come. You may be in sporting events or different type of curricular activities at your school that will cause you to miss class, and those will not be counted against you, but you're still expected to make the work up. Some work can't be made up. And if you happen to be gone on a day that we are doing something that is a group project or something that we are doing in class, you can't make that up, and you'll just be missing those points. It's reality. You know, just when you're gone, you can't make everything up. Some things you can, some you cannot. I will never seek out a student and say, here's what you missed. It's the student's responsibility to talk with other students, to look at desire to learn, and to get the assignments that they're missing. As a student, you need to be able to work independently. You need to be able to work with thinking, with the thought process and thinking outside the box and being able to apply processes, but you also need to be able to work in a group setting. There's not too many healthcare careers out there that you're going to work totally independently. You're going to have responsibilities that are yours, and then things that you will be doing with some of your group, with your team members. And so I expect that in the classroom. I expect you to be able to work in all modalities, depending on what the task is at hand. When you come up on a problem, an issue, which is going to happen, I do want the students to be able to think for themselves first, and to kind of be able to research, how am I going to get this done? Don't automatically come to me. Don't automatically say, oh, that didn't work, so I didn't do it. Figure it out. How can I get this done? There's always going to be problems, and so allow time for that. You know, if an assignment is due at 10 p.m., don't start the assignment at 9. What if you have issues? And if it's a computer issue, you know, I may not be available. Probably I won't be available. The help desk will be closed. And so how are you going to get this figured out if you wait till the last minute to do your assignment? So those are all things to think about as you are preparing to come into allied health. That's really the information that I have for you guys. If you have questions, you're welcome to email me, and I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. We meet every day. We're in the RESA building, and we're at the one that's across the street from McDonald's is where we meet. Like I said, we won't be there every day. Some days we'll be virtually, but I just wanted you to know where the classroom is at. We do have a cafe that is ran by some of our students that are in the special education classrooms, and it's a wonderful opportunity for our classrooms to be able to work with peers and to be able to support some of our educational programs. So there's a place that they can get snacks and coffee and drinks, and so I always appreciate the seeing the students interact with each other there as well. Classes, you will be I do not think it comes email. It'll probably come snail mail this summer. It will tell you the exact date that classes are starting, may or may not correspond with what's happening at your homeschool. It will, let you know then if you don't already know, if you are in the AM or the PM section. I don't have anything to do with that. That all happens at your homeschool. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and welcome, and thanks for signing up for my class.